All right, looks like we're live. I want to thank everybody for joining. If you would just take a quick moment, if you are able to, for our panelists to go to Facebook and go to the Pearland Chambers website and share the live feed on your page. So I'm going to do that now. Let's see. Oh, there it is. I'm going to share it to my page. Okay, great. So thank you guys for joining us today for our panel. We have some great panelists today talking about a very, very important subject, and that subject is on financial health. We know this is something that everyone is affected with, financial health, whether it's on the personal side or the business side. So today we're going to tackle personal wealth, self-employment, and business ownership. And we know that they really just go hand in hand. So before we start, we want to do some introductions. And we have Tony, if you'd like to introduce yourself. She's working everything behind the scenes and give any instructions that you need to give for our audience.
Good morning, guys. My name is Tony Vale. I am with the Pearland Chamber, Vice President of Business Retention and Expansion. And I'm having difficulty right now. Sorry. Can you guys hear me still?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. I will be watching the chat. If you have any questions for our panel of experts, just put it right in the chat and we will get those questions over to them. For our code of conduct, I will post the link in there for all of the details of that. You can look, the chamber does follow a code of conduct on each meeting or event that we host. And just for a safety procedure, just know your surroundings. And if you have an emergency, please just exit the building and take care of yourself. Other than that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Kiana. I'm very proud and excited to be here and to hear from our panel.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to get right into it. So we're going to turn it over to our panel. If you could give an introduction of yourself. So please tell us your name, your company, and a little bit about yourself and what you do. So I'll start with Crystal.
Okay. Thank you, and Tony. My name is Crystal Walker, and I'm a financial advisor and certified financial planner with Navigo Wealth Management. So we help individuals, families, and businesses plan for the future, for retirement, education, or whatever your goals may be. And we also provide investment management. So we have actually manage people's money, whether it be just money you've saved or maybe an old 401k that you have for retirement, or again, college savings accounts, things like that. So we provide the planning and advice ongoing, as well as the investment and management and education.
Thank you. And Charlene.
Hi, everybody. My name is Charlene. I am a CPA. I am also a certified tax coach. I have been a CPA for 20 years. I started my practice 10 years ago. In our country, there are about 800,000 CPAs today. There's less than 1% of us who are actually certified tax coaches. So why did our firm, or why did we become part of certified tax coach community? That is because we believe that business owners work really hard for their business. The last thing they want to do is to give away their hard-earned money. So we are a firm who specialize really in helping business owners, find out, identify legal strategies to reduce taxes as much as you can.
And that's very important, very important. We want to reduce those taxes if we can and do it in the most ethical and legal way. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I do want to give this disclaimer since this is on a financial topic and we do have two financial experts. The disclaimer is this presentation is intended for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis and consult with the registered financial professional before making any financial decisions for yourself or your business. And ladies, would you please make sure, unless Tony has it already, that your information is posted on Facebook. You'll put it on Facebook, Tony, so that they can contact her. And if need be, if she needs you to, you can put your information in the chat and then she can take it from there and put it on Facebook. Okay, great. So we're going to start. We have some questions and answers. So our first question is, what is the experience and expectations of working with a financial planner, advisor, or CPA? And I'll start with you, Charlene.
So when individuals or business owners work with a CPA, really the first expectation, to me as a CPA is, I think, compliance. For example, if you run a business, it is easy for you to file your business tax return on TurboTax. But, are you filing it correctly, right? Are you losing deductions? Are you in compliance, right? So I think the first expectation is that when you work with someone, especially if you pay a CPA, you need to make sure that they do the right thing and you do the right thing. So that is definitely the baseline. The other incentive really working with professionals or, certified tax coach, a CPA is you become smarter because you tap into their knowledge, smarter ways of running a business. Example, what are ways for me to generate more profits, pay less taxes, therefore strengthen your cash flow position.
Definitely. And especially when you're getting into business ownership, you have to be very careful. There's a lot of, just like you said, you can do it yourselves at home. You can do it online, but that may not always be beneficial, even from your personal side. You really, when it comes to something like that, where you can get into trouble if you don't do it right, you need to have an expert. So thank you for saying that. Crystal, same question. What's the experience and expectations of working with a financial planner, CPA?
Well, I would say that one of the first misconceptions is that people say, I don't know enough to talk to a financial planner, or I don't have enough, or I don't have my stuff together yet. I need to get all my information to have everything ready. Well, you don't. We know the questions to ask, and we can help guide you so it doesn't seem like a daunting task to create a financial plan. Also, Kiana, I liked that you were the one leading this because you're in the health industry, and there's a lot of comparisons between health and wealth. And I think of going to a financial advisor or planner like going to the doctor. You don't just walk in and say, hi, my name is Crystal. What should I do? Right? They are going to ask you a lot of questions. In fact, sometimes I get frustrated that when I go to the doctor, the same doctor, I have to answer the same questions over again to see if things have changed. So a couple of points there are, we're going to ask you questions. We need to know your full financial picture. If you really want to do it the right way and a comprehensive way, then we need to know where you stand. And you need to know where you stand. So if you're not sure, then we'll say, okay, here's the things you need to go look at. Here's the things you need to find out, so that we can give you the proper advice. Just like you said in the beginning of this, for example, this meeting is for informational and educational purposes only because I'm talking to a broad group of people. when you're going to come to us, we need to know your specific situation. We can't give broad advice to a specific person. Everyone's in a different place, in a very different place. And then, like I said, when I go to the doctor, they may ask me the same questions they asked me last time. It's because we are living, breathing, changing beings. We are always evolving. Our situations change, our health changes. A business, Charlene can speak to this, your business may change. You may think your business is going one direction and then you decide to go another direction. So we're going to want to review from time to time as well. So expect it not to be a one-time thing. You don't wake up and you're born and you make a plan for the rest of your life. It changes as you get older and as things move forward. And we want to make sure that a financial plan should also be a living, breathing document along with you. It shouldn't be a static plan. Your balances change, your goals change, your family changes. So just expect that when you talk to a financial advisor to spend a little bit of time and open up and be personal. A lot of times I might know more about a person than their own doctor does. So that would be my first advice on what to expect.
Interesting. And I always say we want to be proactive versus reactive. And I like that you said that circumstances change. So just because we have a plan in place, that may not be the most appropriate plan for that stage in life. So it needs to be revised. Would you say how often you need to look at your financial plan?
I would say at least annually, just like insurance is going to recommend for you to see your physician, at least annually. Sometimes people more often, depending on their situation.
Okay, good point. So where do I start to create better financial health? So when it comes to personal, Crystal, what would you say?
Again, it all depends on where you are. Okay. If you are in a state of crisis or you're in the very beginning stages of building, your health, wealth, I'm just going to throw this out there. Dave Ramsey is great, right? For helping people get out of debt, build your emergency fund, get started, start building savings, some basics of financial health, right? But if you are a high net worth individual who's been in business for years and you have money built up in your savings account, you just don't know what to do with it, you don't need to go to Financial Peace University and start on baby step number 1, So it all depends on where you are. But so really identify your financial goals if you haven't yet. That would be the first step. Understand where you are financially. So for my onboarding process with clients, the first thing we're going to do is use our financial planning software, and you're going to fill out your balance sheet. You create a financial statement that says where your money is, what you have, where it is, and what is it doing? Is it just sitting there? Is it invested? They say that I think that about 60% of women do not know where their money's invested. So there are some unique things that we talk to women about. Track your spending. You might think you know where your money is going. You might think you spend $700 a month on food and you're really spending $1,500, and that could be a really simple fix right there, that one thing. So, once you've identified your goals, where are you trying to go? Understand where you stand, track your spending. Then you can start making adjustments, start saving and investments. And finally, look at your insurance. How are you insured? What is the point in having this wonderful pot of, money that is not, when you're not protected, that it could all disappear like that, which also goes hand in hand with wealth. With health. Right? Protect yourself, insure yourself, your house, your property, your investments, whatever it is. Find out how to be properly insured so that what you've built doesn't disappear in a moment.
How did you know I spent most of my money on food? Great
well, you don't
point.
look like you, but.
And Charlene, on the business side, where do I start to create a better financial health?
So there is, over the years, we work specifically and for a lot of business owners. That's the market that we target. I would say we all business owners have one common weakness or one common issue, one common challenge. At some point, we all make this same mistake. We all believe that when there's a challenge or problem in business, the easier way and quickest way to fix it is to throw more money in it. Sometimes money does not really solve the problem. Example, if it is a process problem, if it is a strategy problem, you can replace a manager, you can hire more people. It doesn't mean that your problem is solved, right? So one thing that I want to share with business owners, if you're running a business, you definitely need to have a profit formula. You are in business putting all, your hours, your hard work in there because you want to build wealth, because you want to run a profitable business. So some fundamentals like understanding your pricing strategy, understanding your cost structure, understanding every single month. It's actually, it's pretty similar to personal, financial planning in some ways, like what Crystal just mentioned. You need to understand your fixed costs, right? Like let's say personal expense, your rent, your personal rent or mortgage. In business, you have your business rent, you have your business phone bills, right? It's the same thing. And your variable costs, right? Like somebody asks you, hey, do you want to throw in Google ads of another 1,000? That might be variable because, you might decide to spend or not to spend. So there's a formula that our practice actually has designed, and we actually have a cloud-based solution. It is called Understand Your Numbers in Less Than 60 Seconds. We believe that there's a method that business owners need to follow in order to make sure that your business is profitable at all times. And it's a step-by-step process. We tell business owners every day, 5 minutes, there's some homework you need to do, just 5 minutes. Every month, you need to have monthly financials. Every quarter, you need to have quarterly tax planning. So these are some of the fundamentals.
That's awesome. Thank you. So along with that, Charlene, as it pertains to business, how do we increase our profits to get to a point of investing versus just surviving?
So if you are, starting your business, if you are a startup, right? If you guys follow the SBA census, you know that the very first year, the average failure for people who start the very first year, about 50% of businesses will not survive. 50% of startups will not survive, right? So the very first year, so this is a question like, how do I increase my profit? If you're running your business the first year or 5 years or 10 years, the answers are actually all a little different, right? In your initial year, you as a business owner, your first year, you're not going to be profitable because you're starting a business. You're trying to get your word out there. You're promoting your business. People are learning about your business. So don't be discouraged if you're not profitable the first 12 months. The average trend is that people break even or people start making profits after 18 months. So just know that it's a norm. Now, having said that, that does not give excuses to business owners to say, well, Charlene say 18 months, so I don't need to make a profit right now. That's not what we're saying. You still need to do, your homework to make sure that, whatever that's incoming, whatever that's outgoing, every single deal that you make, there's a profit formula. I think especially in today's economy, the Social Security Office, if you guys follow this past, weeks, just released that there's a, there's a drastic, inflationary adjustment. So they are paying more Social Security benefits out to the elderly people. So we're in a world that inflation is crazy. Like things are getting more expensive. Employees are, needing to have raises to keep up with, the overall, struggles that we're going through right now. because things are getting more expensive because of this whole pandemic situation. So I think for a business owner, you have to be very aware and to all these different changes that's constantly driving your business, right? Before COVID, maybe you can afford to hire 10 people, and then they have some downtime and they can relax. But right now in the current situation, can you still afford the 10 people, with increased cost structure? I mean, and it's a very serious problem, like in construction, right? You talk about pricing for certain construction materials. In the past year, during pandemic, there's a 60% increase in cost. So just think about it, just the materials. There's drastic. So I would say, in order to stay profitable, it is very important that, business owners look at their financials and, have a daily, monthly check as regularly as possible.
Thank you so much. And that was a lot. And thank you for sharing that. So can you all speak to retirement benefits and other options for self, family, and employees? What are your thoughts on that? Whoever wants to. Go ahead, Crystal.
Okay, this is Crystal. I know this one I feel like really goes hand in hand for financial advisors and CPAs to work together. It's going to depend on the size of your business, how many people are in your business, how many employees you have, and who are you really looking to benefit with the retirement plan? Are you, and I don't mean to sound like anyone's being selfish, but are you looking to benefit yourself as the owner the most in the plan? Or are you really looking to draw and retain employees? Do you even want to retain employees? Is your business more seasonal help? Are these people going to be here less than 3 years? So, again, it's all personal and something you need to discuss directly with your advisor and your CPA as to, this is what kind of business I have. This is how many employees I have. And this is how long they tend to stick around. Maybe even what is their wage rate? You're going to get certain employees that are just never going to contribute. I've talked to clients before, they have hundreds of thousands in their retirement plans. And I say, well, what about your employees? And they say, well, none of my employees ever sign up for it. It's just me, or just me and my wife. We're the only ones that actually have anything in the plan. And they have a successful business and they have long-term employees, but it's just maybe these employees are not saving. And that's another thing to go along with the retirement plan for your business is you can have someone come in and talk to your employees and help them personally. You're going to have better employees if they are in a better personal financial situation. You want to help add as much value and have your employees or partners as happy as possible. So, for example, if you have a business that's mostly just you, say you're doing consulting of some sort, you may just have a solo 401k. Instead of using a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA or a SEP, and these are all things we can talk about, directly off the meeting, you might be able to put more away. So you just need to know, are you trying to put away the minimum or the maximum? How much are you trying to maximize your retirement and your employees? And there is something to fit everyone. I would say no matter the size of your business, there's something you can be doing for retirement as well as your employees.
And Charlene?
Yeah, so I kind of want to echo what Crystal just said. If it really depends on your options and the intent of you setting up, the retirement vehicles. As a, certified tax coach, the way we look at retirement benefits, it's a form of deferral, right? Don't pay taxes right now, pay it later, defer it. But it is also a forced savings. There has been a lot of cases that we have dealt with that businesses is up and down for certain business owners, and in a good year they opt to set up a defined benefit plan, for example, and throw in hundreds of thousands. And then the next year, suddenly they realize that I can't afford it anymore. So if there's one advice that I can give to business owner is retirement contribution or planning is not something you can do hastily. It is definitely more than just a 12-month planning. It's really not just for, okay, Charlene, I don't want to pay taxes, so let me throw in another 30,000 so that I can get rid of my 30%. It's beyond that. So definitely it's very valuable for you, for anyone, especially business owner, to be able to work with a financial advisor like Crystal.
And
Oh.
working
Go ahead,
together.
Kristen.
Working together with your financial advisor and CPA is extremely important. If you're taking advice from one, go to the other and explain what you've been doing or what you're planning. We just, one of my partners had a client who there was a disconnect there. The financial advisor had him on one plan, and then the CPA said, go open this kind of account and make this contribution. And he went ahead and filed his taxes as if he'd already made that contribution, because that's what he planned on doing. And then when he went back to the advisor was like, no, you completely messed up, and we had to figure out how to get that worked out for him, by today. So, yeah, work together. Kiana, do you mind if I speak to something that Charlene said a moment ago about inflation?
Yeah, go ahead.
She had a good point about being aware of what's going on and what the changes are. And that may seem daunting, or if you're not familiar, the tax laws change all the time. And that's why I suggest definitely letting experts help you. Do not try to be a jack of all trades. Do not try to know everything. Run your business and let someone else help you be in the know with those types of things. And be realistic. To be realistic, you have to have the knowledge, but also as things change, just like interest rates change, inflation changes. And that's why those checkups are really important. I do want to back up and say, I spoke a moment ago, Kiana, you asked me how often you need to review your financial situation. Well, when I say every year, I mean with your advisor, your CPA, or your financial, you should be reviewing every month. You should be looking at, are you staying on track? You don't want to wait till the end of the year to go, oh, I spent too much on this every year. And I also like what she had to say about your financial ratios. Know what your financial rate, your fixed costs should be and what they are. And if they're out of line, see how you might need to make a major adjustment, like your housing ratio. If you're paying too much just to live in your house, it's going to be very difficult to reach your goals because that's fixed. It's not changing unless you move or you refinance or something major has to happen. If, speaking of inflation, taxes, property taxes, not only has your home value gone up, but your property taxes are probably going up. So make sure you're reviewing those things because you may not have changed anything, but things are changing around you.
Yes, and I think another point that you said about having everybody on the same page is really good. I know one thing I did was get my CPA and financial advisor, and we just did a whole Zoom so that everybody's on the same page. So I think that's a really, really good point. Now, what other experts do you think will assist in bettering my financial health? Anybody else bring to the table?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So if you are a business owner and you've been running, your business for a while, you're making 6, 7, or, even 8 figures, there are actually 3 very important people that you definitely need to work with in your life. Your first one would be your financial advisor. Your second one would be your tax advisor. And then the third one will be your controller. If you yourself are not playing the controllership role. Now, when I say financial advisor or tax advisor or even controller, I'm not talking about, let's sit down. This is a to-do list. Okay, let's knock it out. Okay, all right, 5 minutes. Okay, let's decide. Oftentimes, I think a very effective relationship, whether it be with a financial advisor or a CPA, is you actually have a relationship. Example, a lot of business owners think that, okay, I've got H&R Block and I pay $600 to close out the business tax return, but they never give me any advice. Now, having a relationship with a tax advisor goes beyond that. It should give you that space where you sit down with your CPA, your tax advisor, much like when you sit down with a financial advisor, and talk about the direction of your business. Where are you right now, where you want it to go, how far are you from the goals, what can you do to save more taxes or preserve more cash, how can you innovate, how can you invest, when to reinvest back, when to pull back, and that, sadly, often doesn't really happen for very, busy business owners. So for those business owners who are listening, the one good advice I want to give you, and I want to challenge you to, take time for yourself and to invest in yourself, because I think having those conversations help you, have a clear mind, a clear goal, and eventually that will make you more successful as a business owner.
Mhm.
Crystal?
Yeah, exactly what she said. Have a relationship of some sort, an ongoing relationship with the people that are helping you run your family or your business, your personal finances, or just like you're not going to have a healthy marriage if you never talk to your spouse. You have to talk often and talk about things that are important. You wouldn't have a good relationship with your employees or your boss or your partners if you don't have regularly scheduled meetings to check in. So to have a healthy relationship with anyone or anything, you need to be talking often and having a fresh conversation each time about what is really going on and what the plans are.
Good. So this relationship with my financial planner, my CPA, should this be a long-term relationship or a short-term?
Definitely, I would say long-term. I don't know why. I can't think of a situation where it should be short-term. It definitely needs to be ongoing. Like I said, you're a living, breathing, changing human being, and so is your business and your plans, most likely, and the world around you.
Yeah, so to piggyback and echo what Crystal said, that's why for any individuals and business owners, it's very important that when you shop for a financial advisor or a CPA, don't go cheap. Price should not be the only determining factor, because it's not buying groceries. It's, investing in yourself. It's just like if you go to do a facial, you won't want to go to like a $5 facial. You want to go to a proper place where they have a proper process.
Speaking of which, I had the best facial in Chicago of my life a few weeks back. Thought I'd throw that in. Okay, so just to conclude, we're going to talk about some questions. We'll start with you, Crystal. Could you give us 3 questions that each entrepreneur could ask themselves to understand their current personal financial position?
I kind of would say that I would use maybe the financial health check that I mentioned earlier. Just, do you even know what your goals are? Do you know where you stand? Are you tracking your spending? But some other things are, do you have a plan? That would be the goals part. Do you have accountability? Do you have someone to check in, or a mentor, whether it's an advisor or a mentor? Do you have accountability for what you're actually doing? Have you hired that expert? You don't diagnose yourself with your health. Probably shouldn't diagnose your situation on your own either. Don't go to Google. You can Google and look up a proper housing ratio. And the other day I saw it said 40%. And I was like, no, that's supposed to be more like 28%. And we can talk about what housing ratio is at another time, but what you're spending on your mortgage and your interest and your, insurance and things, you're going to find anything on Google. So make sure someone's speaking to you that is an expert and that knows your situation. Are you using the tools you need to use to evaluate your situation? And again, are you insured? And just look at some of the basics. Are you paying your bills on time? Do you have cash available? Do you have capital? In your business, I know that Charlene can speak to this more, but again, with the financial ratios, understand what health looks like. You might not, if you don't know what a healthy business looks like, speak to someone about what your profit margins and your current ratios and quick ratios. And, if you want some quick education on what those are, I know where to find some very wonderful, cute, fun videos to watch. If that sounds boring, they can make it exciting. So those are a few questions that I would ask. But again, just find an expert to go through it with you for your own personal situation.
And Charlene, what 3 questions can each entrepreneur ask as it pertains to their business financial position?
So I think the first very key question that business owners should always ask themselves regularly is whether your business is profitable. You guys may be surprised to hear this, but dealing with business owners and serving the business community, we have seen people running, a loss in their business for over 10 years, and they still have not made any changes to what they do every day, right? So I think the whole process is just very discouraging, and it can, tear a person, because there's a long-term effect. If you are doing something that's not profitable, you're going to run into cash flow issues. So I think it's important for, business owners to be aware, and, sometimes you just got to ask yourself, honestly, is it really worth it? Is it worth your time? Is there anything that you need to change if it is not profitable? Now, if it is profitable, the second question you need to ask is, do you have any cash flow issues? We have seen very profitable business with huge cash flow issues. So running a profitable business does not mean that you are free from cash flow issues. So the second thing is to make sure that you have healthy cash flow position. The third thing is, in order to make sure that you are healthy in terms of your cash flow, you got to look at taxes, because it's just one area that people give away because they don't know, they don't have the right help. So those are the 3 questions.
That's great. Yeah, cash is king. And as a business, you do not want to run out of cash. Very, very, very important. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. That was so great. Want to remind our viewers that this is taped, so it's going to be up on our chamber website. If you didn't catch all of it, or if there's some points you want to go back and look at, feel free to do that. And next month, our topic is going to be on philanthropy and the community impact of that. And then we'll conclude December with business planning, success in numbers, how we can get prepared for 2022. And we're going to look at some KPIs and budgeting. And so we'll be excited to end the year and can't believe that 2022, hard to say that, is amongst us. So we want to thank everybody for joining us today, and catch us here again next month in November. Looks like the date would be the 19th. It's always the 3rd Friday at 10 a.m. And everybody have a good Friday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Oh.